Hi there, and welcome back. If you are a returning user, welcome back to Healthy Accord. I am continuing the series in this video to talk about foundation and principle to abide by and have, especially in your intention to pay attention to ancestor. So far in this series, I have listed to you the various categories that showed the forms and means and ways that ancestors reach out to us. And I've also gone ahead in other parts of previous videos to share with you methods to circumvent spammers and signs that you ought to look for when spirit ancestors are trying to communicate to you. So this video, the foundation and principle to abide by, more so speaks to you, the child, human person that want to know who your spirit ancestors are. The first foundation / principle I would highly recommend is respect. Respect is super important. Many of the priestesses that I sat with to receive support from, and shamans too, they exuded respect for spirit. So I would offer that as advice and suggestion that you must have in your foundation and or your principle to abide by, respect. Because from the previous video, actually the second video in this series, you would see the many forms that spirit ancestor can take. So our modernity perception and ways that we expect things to be, in the eyes of spirit, it can be however spirit wants it to be. So respect is really paramount. And respect is very important because sadly the smear campaign carry over to about spirit ancestors and the many types of spirit ancestors that they are. There have been a lot of smear campaigns that people will speak about different type of entities and ancestors of ours. I'm not going to go into any of that here. But as you venture into your research or just hear how other humans speak about, maybe you don't confront them, sure, that's their opinion, that's that. But I caution you to pay attention to it as in, what is your principle? What is your foundation going to be made of? And respect has to be part of the root stock of it, you know. So I add a note here that says bringing drama stories or disrespectful stories, you know, because sometimes when people are technically kind of new to some of the supernatural stuff, they may come in contact with a lot of other content that tries to explain spirit, where people are trying to explain other myths. And sometimes in those myths and other stories, there's disrespect there. So just, figure out if you want any part of that and make your choice accordingly. The next aspect or thing that I would recommend to you to incorporate in your foundation and principle to abide by is accountability. And I list here as in basically the actions and efforts that you make towards paying attention to ancestors. Well, it's good that you protect yourself in every way possible. You know, previously in a previous video I did mention that I did not draw at the time, I did not draw the boundaries applying to peace and love I was just all peace and love, and I learned from that that one needs to have boundaries. So, and I did so accordingly. So I held myself accountable when I made certain mistakes because, well, spirit is around me for a particular reason, certain reasons, I don't know. I would have to sit and ask, and that's just it. Being accountable means I'm taking the steps to ask them, what is it that they would like me to know? What is it that I am here to do? And I've mentioned in applying accountability, going the route of divination or tarot or other type of effort that you would take shows, well, your principles are what they are. You are taking action. So respect, accountability ought to be quite paramount in your foundation to abide by. And oof, man, I hesitate to speak about this, and there is a resistance in me. There is a resistance, certainly. And that resistance is coming about my witnessing when I was new on the scenes or watching YouTube videos where people were talking about spirit. They were also talking about spirit ancestors as far as what they could get, yeah, or the powers to be gotten, or the more stuff to get. Like, hey, don't get me wrong, I like nice things, you know. I love nice things, and I'm not saying any of that, but it's just something that I witnessed when I was new on the scenes in educating myself about what any and all of this means. I tapped into some videos where people were commenting about, well, I'm going to ask my ancestors for this, or, you know, you want to do ritual for that, or ceremony for this. It was more so to acquire. And that was that. I heard what I heard, and then I kept it moving. So I mark accountability here to have, because you want to just feel into how that principle aligns with your values, aligns with your foundation. And thankfully, the practitioners that I have sat with, I can just say from interacting with them briefly through divination or through ceremony or other ritual practices, I can say definitely for sure there's a healthy respect for spirit. Definitely through their actions I could see accountability, where they held themselves accountable to better themselves and improve themselves in areas that they weren't strong at, you know. And that rubbed out very well on me because I like that. So last but not the least, ownership. When venturing to pay attention to ancestors, ownership is key. And some of the ways that accountability can tie into ownership is you make the process your own. Have fun with it. And an example I can give from lived personal experience is I made it my own, as in I went on constant hikes. And as I was in some of those state parks on a particular trail by myself, I just started talking to myself. I talked to myself and I started singing. And it gradually elevated to, I became more comfortable to just have a random conversation, or not conversation, but to just say hi to a winged animal or a winged one that was flying by, butterfly, wasp, flies, mosquitoes, sometimes, hey, no, not right now, bug off type of thing. I have fun with it. And that's in my personality, to have fun in that way. Taking ownership is to make it your own. Paying attention to ancestor, thankfully there is no recipe out there for it. There is no set path. You want to make it your own. Make the process your own. Fine tune it in ways that is suitable and comfortable to you. And oh yes. So as far as taking ownership of answering spirit, yes, of course, the respectful piece is paramount. These are our elders, our ancestors. They are our elders, so respect is paramount. But I also am reflecting on the fact that some people behave how they behave. So I say that to say, possibly your spiritual behavior does not have to match that of a monk or someone that is super how they are in their energy, You may be the stoic type. You might be not so stoic. You might be flamboyant how you are. Make the process your own. It's spirit. They're the most, I'm speaking personally from my ancestors being around me, non-judgmental, loving. They correct accordingly as your communication. They'll correct as in they'll offer guidance. It's up to you to take it or leave it. So you don't have to come forward with any performative behavior, And now that I say that, I am remembering, coming from the Catholic route, the behavior of communicating with a quote-unquote higher entity. People would just like throw themselves on the floor. I am at your mercy type of deal, and have mercy on me type of deal. From lived experience, ancestors of spirit guards and guardians are not that. No. From the religious angle, that's something else. I don't know what that is. I don't have an explanation for you. So as it applies to taking ownership, the behavior that one ought to come with, that looks nothing like what we see from the church or institutionalized religion. It's none of that. If I'm rolling around in the grass, that's because I've taken responsibility and accountability to make sure that there are no fire ants in that particular part of the grass. It would be foolish of me to roll around in the grass thinking there is peace and love when there's ants there. They're gonna bite me. And then what? I'm supposed to what? Get mad and say, oh no, I'm peace and love. Why are the ants biting me? Because they're there. I shouldn't be rolling around in the grass anyway. Accountability, ownership, make sure it's a clear area. So I give the rolling around in the grass example because, of course, that's the only time I would find myself rolling around on the floor, and I'm not saying like, oh, have mercy on me, grass, have mercy. No. When I'm communicating to the earth, it's not like, oh, have mercy. It's like, it's more so, I love you, thank you so much for everything. And that's it. I go about my day, So the performative behavior, sadly, if you want to get examples, look to the church. And then that behavior, don't bring that over as far as paying attention to ancestors and owning up to your spiritual ancestors, because that's something else. So I believe they accept us, so come as you are is absolutely what I find to be to be truthful, because you are on your journey and you have likely a lot of skins to shed, a lot to heal from. So it would be kind of odd and awkward as they are loving. Again, nothing like the church ways. Like, that's something else. They prefer you come as you are. And I'm not going to go into a lot of it, but there were moments on the journey I was salty as I was. Thankfully now I've gotten to a place where I'm a strong advocate of offerings and communings and verbal affirmations and prayers. Whereas back then, it would be once a month if I meditated at all. And however long it took before I got comfortable with making offerings and communing. So coming as you are, this is a journey of truth. And as the journey of truth is what it is, the skins that you have to shed is also part of that truth. They're so loving. My experience, you know. And last that I want to speak to, the ownership piece. Present as what you feel true to you and that is good to you with respect. Because like I said, we all have skin to shed, things that we want to heal from. But however salty that I may be about whatever, a human person behaved to me a certain way or someone dealt something to me a certain way, however salty that I am about that interaction, when you enter this space to sit with ancestor, yeah, you may, you don't need my permission for that. I'm saying, I think one can convey respectfully how you feel. Okay? Respectfully how you feel, because depending on how much you want to do, our ancestors can support to shed the skin that we want to, if you ask. And depending on what you're doing, I think they might be a supportive guide to point us in the right direction, to lose some of that baggage that is not serving us right. So that's all I wish to say about this part. In building your foundation, to answer your call, to pay attention to your ancestor, I believe you want to come with respect, accountability, and ownership. And I'm grateful that you have sat through this series. There might be more videos to come. I cannot promise that, but I shall conclude the series here. If something else come up, I will make a new video about that topic. But this video, as it is, concludes the series of Pata, pay attention to ancestors. They are the way, I believe, the truth, and yes, the light, because from lived experience, their guidance have proved and shown me enlightening ways I can do things that bring about peace, sustaining love, and betterment. Thank you so much for being here on Healthy Accord. Oh yes, absolutely. Subscribe to the platform if you haven't already, and share these videos in areas that you think will be well received. Have a blessed day, and I will see you in later videos. Bye-bye.